home brothers. We had the issue of copywrongs, and what a copywrong is when some corporation or group of parasitic peoples take over the artworks and intellectual works of others and try to claim them as property, and claim them as things that we have to pay for. And what's patently ridiculous about that is that music and ideas pass through a process of copying. Now, this copying could be with our computers, but it's most often done with our brains. And people are constantly taking and remixing everything that they take in, and things that come onto their computers, and they're constantly remixing these things. And so the copywrong process tries to cut that out. Now, I personally have never seen a copywrong that is justified. There are two kinds of copywrongs. One is a copywrong owned by special white people, and the other copywrong is owned by somebody who has something which no one would copy and try to sell. And that's something I think it's sort of comical. I see stuff from America that is for a very specific audience, or it is of sort of a grade B quality, sort of a made in your basement kind of quality, where you could be sure that nobody would want to copy that, but you always see like an R, it's like Rothschild, and then the C copyright thing for printed works. I see both amateurs adding C's and R's on everything, and I see special white people putting those C's and R's on the stuff. And that's sort of the scam, isn't it? It's to think that, well, these C's and R's are going to protect our things, even though they aren't things. They're going to protect us. And really, I'm telling you, if that song you made or that idea that you had is really something that could be popularized or is really catchy and ready to go, the special white people will steal it and then put a copyright on it and then make their millions on it. There's so many examples I can't even know where to get started, but let me give you one. It's sort of like how Aerosmith, like half of their songs are copied from this guy named Blind Blake, who was making some pretty good records down in the South. And you would think, so you hear these things, you say, wow, these are really special records, the Blind Blake stuff. And then later, it's not Aerosmith, it's whatever record company they're signed with. And this is really important because there has been a very specific and planned program to take these good songs and good material and corrupt them with lyrics about drinking and sexing and really depressing, semi-suicidal stuff. And that's totally that's a conspiracy right there that Erastus Jones has gone into. He's written articles that I think you can click your way into from celibacy.info to see how these recording companies of special white people took these positive works from blacks and then sort of churned them into negativity, copyrighted them, and then called it quote-unquote intellectual property. So really, I think it's just another process of claiming profit where there isn't, and that's the way these SWPs work. They want to charge for everything. There is a phone call, a prank thing on the radio where they call where a girl calls her dad and tells her that she has an Italian boyfriend, and because she's an SPW, that's wrong, right? Her father says, "That's wrong. You're not allowed to do that." And he cussed them out. And it's so funny, he's trying to claim you're anti-religion or whatever, our religion, but he's using all these really foul, bodily function curse words that the SPWs just love, because they are so obsessed with bodily functions, which is what any Satanist or anyone who is really materially obsessed would be. They think bodily functions are very essential, and they think they're funny too. I mean, not only do they use bodily functions to curse, but they use bodily functions to make jokes and things, and that's an Asiatic quality. The second you come even to Japan, a relatively civilized place, you find there's a lot of poopy jokes, and you're like, well, I got over that when I was 4. I don't think poopy is funny anymore, and I haven't since I was 4, but these people do. And she called and pranked him, said, "I have an Italian boyfriend," and he flipped out. And when the radio station informed him, well, it's a prank call, it's not real, he said a very, very interesting line. He said, "Who's going to pay for that heart attack I almost had?" Now, see if you can wrap yourself around that one. He wants to charge the radio station to pay for a heart attack he didn't have, because maybe they could have caused it. So these SPWs, that's the way they're thinking. They're thinking, how do we exploit people and get money at every corner, and even to the point where you get a phone number and the line is there and somebody has to press a button and you pay $100 for somebody to press a button. Like, what is the button 500 pounds? Or why is it possibly worth it to pay what we pay for telecommunications and pay what we pay for utilities and things like that? And Copywrongs jump in there. They're going to say, well, this is our property. Another example, The Lion King, is a story that I read when I was a kid, and it was published in books as African kids stories, and the hero of the story is a lion named Kimba. So you know where this is going, right? So Disney buys up. They don't buy up the story. Of course, they don't give Africans jack squat, and then they tack a big Rothschild R on it, and they say, this is property of Walt Disney Corporation. I think Walt Disney would be rolling in his grave, that's for sure. And Disney now is a producer of so-called children's materials and pornography, and it is a disgusting bastardization of the original company, this Disney thing. And they are raking in the gazillions on these pretty dumb movies that are visually done decently. That's the whole idea. It's sort of to supplant thinking and real enjoyment with sensory overload, and that's why you've got Pixar and all this other stuff. I don't know why people watch this Pixar crap. It's like you look at this animation and it's so fake. I mean, it's faker than South Park. There's something more real and warm about even just construction paper and moving things than 3D modeling and calculating shadows and doing all that. So that's how I see Copywrongs. And this is a really positive thing about living in China, is that we don't have Copywrongs here. We copy whatever the hell we want, If we want an MP3, we don't need Napster or things like that. We simply hook up to Baidu. We look up, for example, Desperado Eagles, and boom, there's your MP3. No royalties, no nothing. And why should there be? It's something that's copyable. Now, some people say you should pay the artist. Well, is buying a disc, this is an important question, is buying an Eagles disc paying the Eagles anything? Kind of doubt it, folks. Think you're paying the record company and you're paying the special white people. And I think probably, considering how deep they are in Hotel California, we're never going to get there, and we'll never have a chance to put cash in the tip jar. Something that corporate, something that blown up with special publicity from people who signed a contract with the devil, saying that from here on we will be propagandized as the best violinists, the best guitarists, the best singers, in exchange for our souls, i.e. they can't write songs completely with the lyrics they want and make the music that they completely want. Their whole agenda is pushed by this agents and things that are working behind them. It's really funny. I saw a recent documentary on Metallica. I think any of our brothers here that like death metal or things like that would probably want to hurl when they hear the name Metallica. But anyway, you might want to see this documentary. But you notice how a special white person sneaks in there. He says he's their agent, he's the bassist for the band, and that they even show footage of him telling them how to play songs and what riffs to put in there and all this other stuff. And the documentary is mostly interesting to other people because they're watching it to watch what's going on between Lars Ulrich and the grimacing lead singer. They hire some shrinks and some people to figure out why they hate each other and try to get the bands back together. It's hilarious. This is ginger, it's not urine. I think I have to make a very clear statement on that. This is ginger tea, and Ginger is beautiful. I love you, Ginger. Ginger is my girlfriend. Everybody have a picture of my girlfriend Ginger here. So she grew up to be like that. Yeah, I know I got frosty flakes, but that's what Ginger looks like when it grows up. And I think that's because a brother left a piece here and it just grew wild when I left. But anyway, I want to move away from Copywrongs. I want to have everybody be cool, and being cool means that we don't need that much money to live. We stay as far away as possible from the money anti-culture. We live on less money, we spend less money, and we have kind of a day job or a part-time job. I think a part-time job is certainly enough to feed us and clothe us. We can live together in places like this and be brothers and share expenses and share things to the point where living is really cheap. And our artistic efforts, I'm more of the type that likes the old Europe, anonymous. All these works, these things we make, these songs we make, these melodies, everything we do, just anonymous. I don't want to have a big ego trip. I'm not going to put a big Rothschild R on my stuff. I'm not going to try to charge you when you use your copying machine, i.e. a computer, to copy something. And I think if we're really going to use computers and software to their full potential, we have to stop charging for this stuff. And there are ways that musicians and there are ways that artists make money in other ways, like we can just play in the street for some cash or do some performances or sell some hard copy discs. I've done all this stuff and I've made good money, and I've never felt like I need to copyright my stuff. Back in 1997, our release called Noct, it's a classical guitar disc. You can look it up on Amazon or whatever. I did that when I was, I think, 19. And it says right there on the front of our disc, Copyleft. Think about that. Now that'd be 1994. How many people were doing that? See? You got to stick with us. You got to stick with the KBH. We're ahead of the ball and everything. Okay. So amen and om, brothers. Remixing these things. And so the Copywrong process tries to cut that out. Now, I personally have never seen a Copywrong that is justified. There are two kinds of copywrongs. One is a copywrong owned for the artworks and intellectual works of others and try to claim them as property and claim them as things that we have to pay for. And what's patently ridiculous about that is that music and ideas brothers, we had the issue of copywrongs, and what a copywrong is when some corporation or group of parasitic peoples take over, pass through a process of copying. Now, this copying could be with our computers, but it's most often done with our brains, and people are constantly taking and remixing everything that they take in and things that come onto their computers, and they're constantly by special white people. And the other copywrong is owned by somebody who has something which no one would copy and try to sell. And that's something I think it's sort of comical. I see stuff from America